Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's talk about Miss America. But before we talk about Miss America, something hilarious to share. So I got an Aura ring for Christmas. Highly recommend. I have a code that I can put in the chat for 10% off, by the way, because they are expensive. I got it on Black Friday. Anyways, it like tracks when you do certain activities. And I don't know if you guys know this, but like nursing, you burn a lot of calories. And it literally says 8:59 a.m., 16 minutes, 57 calories, maybe dance. It was saying that I was possibly dancing. No, I was not dance nursing. I was not, but love the energy. Love the energy. Anyways, let's talk about Miss America. I am so incredibly excited that we had 2 out of our 4 clients at Miss America that got top 11 and 1 got top 5. I was so honored and incredibly excited for them because they put in an incredible amount of work this year, and I thought the pageant was just amazing. I think it's gotten so much better since Robin took it over, and honestly, the top 11 made a ton of sense to me. So I'd love for you guys to put it in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're on Spotify. Feel free to let us know on one of the shorts on Powerhouse's Instagram. But I had 7 or 8 out of the 11. I'm never here to talk negatively about anybody. I do think that it, to me, was very obvious who the people's choice was. I actually haven't looked to confirm that or anything, and I'm not here to like out anybody like, oh, you were clearly not in the top 10 on your own merit. Not what it's about. But actually, I think it's cool that they didn't announce it publicly and then let that person compete with everybody else with brand new judges and all the scores were taken away. Like, it's an interesting perspective. I don't think that they mentioned, maybe I missed it because I was taking care of a 5-month-old at the same time, but did they mention whether they did a ballot or whether it was just scores for the winner through top 5 this year? Maybe you guys can comment here on the YouTube page because I didn't actually know that. Typically they've done top 5 ballot, obviously in the past. I was definitely surprised personally, and obviously I have some bias because we coached Ohio, Stephanie, who did an amazing job. I was very shocked that she got 4th runner-up, but ecstatic obviously that she was in the top 5 considering this is her 4th pageant literally ever. I thought the top 5 was beautiful. I thought the top 11 was beautiful. I think it was a very competitive class. And I think it was first and foremost like the biggest win for me. I have 2 huge wins. One, I loved the Hot Topics round. I do think my only dislike towards it is I don't think that people actually really answered the question. It's easier for me as a coach, to be honest, because I just teach people the same framework. Like I teach them to chunk down and use their heroine story, and should be able to dominate every single hot topic as long as you know yourself and have a general like preparation. Like we give all of our academy students a list of 150 topics that I think that they're going to ask about. Every single one of those that they asked last night was in those topics. And then you just make sure that you prepare and like actually spend time knowing how to take that and position it against your heroine story, your platform, whatever. Every single one of those women brought it to her platform, her CSI. I love how accurately represents how intelligent pageant women are. And I think that this is a huge step in the right direction for pageantry as a whole because it's actually showcasing the right parts of our femininity and our intelligence. I think like my sister and I were talking about yesterday, they completely screwed them over her year, the COVID year, because she didn't even get to walk in her evening gown. She didn't even get to be on stage in her evening gown other than an introduction. They cut evening gown that year, which is so stupid. They did pitch, which basically the answers to Hot Topic are like a pitch now, so that's interesting. But when Gretchen took it over and almost ruined Miss America, and it was so boring. Like it was so boring that year. It was all talk. There was no glamour, there was no femininity, there was no glitz. It was literally just like talent. And did they do fitness that year? I think they did fitness. Yeah. Wait, I'm trying to think. No, Allie didn't do fitness. They took that away too. Yeah, I don't think she did fitness now that I'm thinking about it. They did pitch, they did talent, they did interview, they did onstage question. I don't think they did fitness. Seriously. And so that was like the worst year ever. And then Robin took it over last year, and you're always working out hiccups the first year at a new location for Miss America. But I heard nothing but fantastic things from my clients, that they had a great time, that the class just as a whole was really kind and respectful and laid back. A lot of people got sick. A lot of people got sick this year, but they persevered. And I think it's just fantastic to get in the sunshine during this time of year. Like having it in Connecticut didn't do anybody any favors when it's literally the coldest time of the year. So I just think a lot of things like, hey, we are making intelligent decisions. Like family might actually want to go to Orlando in January and not the Midwest, not the Northeast where it's freaking cold. It says it feels like -5 today. Did I go get the mail? No, because I don't believe in that. It's too cold outside, okay? So I thought that was a really great thing. And then the second positive is I'm just so excited about the fashion. Thank you. Now, I think a lot of the dresses still surprised me. Was everything great? Was it Miss USA? No, but look at Miss Alabama who won. Like the low back, the 2 strings on the back, like very old Hollywood, yet like modern, like the, what's that called? A cowl neck? Yeah, cowl neck in the front. Like I thought it was so effortless and classy, and we saw 2 green dresses in the top 5. Love to see that. A yellow dress. It's not just all white all the time. Minnesota had a black dress in the top 11, which I thought was very much more like a USA vibe. I loved it. I think a lot of the styling was like actually styled. You know what I mean? I feel like Miss America for so long just mailed it in when it came to style, or you had to be like one style to be accepted. And now we've got girls wearing their natural curls. We've got Texas who had her natural hair. We have Tennessee who had a bob. We have people wearing straight hair. We had Michigan had her natural curls as well. Like I just love seeing the diversity of styling and really allowing people to lean into their heritage, leaning into their storylines, and leaning into their own personal fashion, yet all showcasing their differences and how on par each of them are in a different way. Like Emily, who's owning the fact that she wants to be a heart surgeon. She's Minnesota. And then you have Florida, who is a 2-time business owner, which I think is amazing. You have Stephanie, who's owning the fact that she wants to go into STEM. She is in STEM and will continue to be in STEM. Like, I love that. And then when you put that also combined with people's heritage, people's faith backgrounds, these different things, like I love that I finally feel like Miss America contestants are allowed to own who they really are. And this might be a little bit controversial, and that's totally okay. Like, love and respect if you disagree with me. Like, that's part of what we're here to do, is to grow. And sometimes we'll agree, sometimes we'll disagree, totally fine. But I didn't mean to call somebody out, but I disagree with their perspective, which is totally fine. They disagree with me too. Great, whatever. Like, life goes on. Doesn't mean you hate anybody, just means we may have different perspective. But this particular account was very upset that 6 or 7 out of the top 11 were blonde. And it's just so interesting how 2 people can see a car crash and have completely different perspectives. Why? Because your brain is interpreting 2 terabytes of information per second, and we actually are able to capture consciously 5 to 7 bits out of the 2 terabyte of bits that are going into your cranium at one time. I want to say this in the most respectful way possible, but first and foremost, I want to congratulate everybody in the top 11. Like, you earned it. And all loved this person, to be honest. I've liked their posts for literally ever. But they just happen to be a man. And first of all, women don't need men to mansplain things, first and foremost. Probably the most like feminist thing you'll ever hear me say. And second of all, I can't stand when people who were not there, are not a part of the organization, are not a part of the solution, and are not even active in the industry other than following void boards and Instagrams and crap and looking at headshots and judging everyone. But mostly, like, you're not a part of the solution at all. You don't even know the people in the organization. You're not coaching anyone in the organization. You don't know the president of the organization. You're allowed to have opinions, don't get me wrong. Totally allowed. And you're allowed to voice those opinions. It's a free country. Praise the Lord. Praise God for those freedoms. But I just can't stand when, like, why is our reaction that someone didn't win by merit immediately? Like, men don't do that to each other. If someone wins, we're not like, oh, 3 of the US Olympic swimmers were blonde. That's ridiculous. And I wish that we could just be happy for women when they break glass ceilings, when they accomplish wonderful things. And I hate that Miss Alabama, now Miss America's first moments were clouded by she's blonde, and 6 or 7 out of the 11 were blonde. Now, is it a fact that the first runner-up has been African American in the last 3 years? 100%. And I thought they were freaking incredible and would have been great Miss Americas. Did I think that Texas was going to win last night? Absolutely I did. I think we all did, right? Most of us did. But does that take away that Miss Alabama was deserving? No. First of all, we have no freaking clue who she is. We did not watch her interview. She's super talented. She had great answers. She had a great talent, all these things. So, like, literally, who are we to say Texas should have won? You know what I mean? Should whatever. Take your should and shove it up your whatever. Like, I just think that's so prideful and so mean and so rude that, again, like, part of being a part of the women's women's empowerment movement is empowering women. And when someone wins, it says a lot about you of whether you're actually able to cheer that person on. Like, she has 365 days. Actually, she has a little bit of a shorter reign, but 365 days to prove what kind of a person she is, right? And prove how good of a job that she's going to do. Yes, have there been 3 in a row blonde Miss Americas? Great. You know what I mean? But like, they're starkly different. One is like, a nuclear whatever. One is in the Air Force. And now I honestly don't know that much about Alabama. That's why I was shocked that she won. I thought other people's brands were just way stronger. That's my personal opinion. But that doesn't mean that she's not going to do a great job. Now, here's the other thing that I had a contention with. That again, the actual Miss America show, great. Other than my critiques are the Miss America's Got Talent host, a bit odd. Sexualizing the crew members that were cleaning up the stage. Didn't love that. Didn't love telling the audience to say, hey, sexy. Just thought that was like unnecessary. Like, weird. Very, very weird. LOL. But everything else, so fun. Just bringing the fun and the joy and the glamour and the glitz and like all the best parts of Miss America and elevating it to a place where I think the women, like, you cannot watch that and be like, pageant girls are dumb. This is all about beauty. This is all about external appearance. Like, I think we saw so much diversity, even body diversity too, within the realm of still traditional pageantry, I would say. But even watching the fitness round, there wasn't anybody that I was like, oh, you are ungodly skinny. Like, you are unwell. And is it maybe where it needs to be? I don't know, whatever. We all have a million opinions, but like, I do think we're seeing progress, like massively. Okay, so let's talk about the last part of this. Now, again, an individual, probably not the only person who thinks this. Now, he said the African-American girls are getting robbed. Okay, first of all, you have literally no data on that. Second of all, is it possible that who won just won? Okay. Now, third of all, if there is something going on in terms of racism, bias, whatever, and something actually needs to be called out, I'm the first person to call it out, okay? And I think it should be called out if there's something fishy going on. However, I will say too, like, I had a ton of, let's just say, people from a bunch of different backgrounds in my DMs that were also calling this out, being like, that was an inside thought. Maybe let's not have that outside thought for this person. Because again, it in my opinion, it just looked like they were tearing down all these other women that had worked really hard to be there. And I hate that victimhood. I hate that vibe of, because the person that I wanted to win didn't win, it must be rigged, or the person that I wanted to win didn't win, the world is against them. If we look at the world, you guys, from the lens of the world is against me, like, you're never going to get anywhere. And if we flip it on its head, like, Texas got first runner-up, that means she beat 51 people. That's an incredible accomplishment. Like, why can't we look at it from the positive of, yeah, you were so close, but like, you did an amazing job, and every other girl there wished that they were in your position. And the funny thing is, this has absolutely nothing to do with Texas. I bet she's sad, but also ecstatic. You know what I mean? Like, that she got first runner-up Miss America. That's incredible. And if you looked at my Instagram, that's why I position my opinion this way, is can we just like cheer people on and not need for there to be a reason why people are successful? Like, I see so often, like, jealousy. Here's what jealousy sounds like. Here's what being unhappy with your own freaking life looks like. It sounds like things like this. Her dad pays for everything. She's really close with the director. She paid $12,000 for her dress. And we always justify why somebody beat them, why somebody got the result that you wanted. That's not a cute look. I want to really encourage you guys to be aware if you're around people like that, because if you're around people like that, you're going to start talking like that, because human nature is to want to agree and to belong and to not be somebody that is sticking out in a crowd in a bad way. But I encourage you to not be a yes person when it comes to that. Don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. Don't be afraid to share your opinion. God is really encouraging me to be bolder and bolder this year. My husband and I just shot 3 episodes and a bunch of reaction videos for our new show, Kingdom Culture, which will probably be out by the time that you guys listen to this and watch this. And I'm so excited because we're talking about hard-hitting things like building biblical practice every day, and what does biblical marriage look like, and how do we communicate both being really fiery people, and what are red flags in dating. Those are the episodes that we recorded this morning. I'm so excited. What is biblical wealth and prosperity? Is it okay to be wealthy as a Christian? Like, how do you do that without it degrading your heart and making sure your heart's in the right place? So God is calling Landon and I to really step out more, and that means I'm stepping out more here too, which is scary, but also great, because the bolder that I am and the more that we're fiercely professing our values, we also get those kind of clients that are raising their hand being like, oh wait, I'm safe here. Like, maybe these are my people. And I'm like, yeah, girl. And so it's really great. So when it comes to the whole narrative of, oh, there were 6 or 7 white blonde girls in the top 11, again, of course, if there actually is like crap going on, we want to call it out. We want to investigate all those kinds of things. If you guys have followed me for a long time with all the crap that's happened in Miss USA the last couple of years, I think a lot of that, if it smells, it's probably, there's just too much evidence from people of all walks of life, several classes of Miss USA contestants. And now we have EDs leaving and starting other pageants. I don't know if y'all heard about that this week, but the Southeast region started their own pageant that is now like the Volunteer to the America. It is now that version of that to Miss USA. So there's a lot of stuff going on, but I think that we just need to be really mindful of who do we follow, what are we listening to, what are we saying, are we reacting because we're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And most of all, like, I hope that we can be a people in the pageant industry, which gets enough flack on its own, by the way. Like, hopefully we can be a people that lift women up and don't immediately explain away their successes. And what's funny is, again, the car crash thing, I looked at the top 7 out of the 11 that were all blondes, and I was like, oh, there ain't no way this is rigged, because in no one's right mind would they put 7 blondes like out of the top 11 if this was rigged. No way they would do that. They would add dexterity. They just would, because it does look a certain way. So I'm like, that's how it was actually based off of points, because otherwise that would be the stupidest thing in the entire world. It's not about being right. I don't really care. But I do think that we can be more cheerleaders for people in this world, and women go through enough criticism on their own, even really highly astute and wonderful high echelon people. So many of you guys are aspiring to be that person who has a chance at Miss America or Miss USA. Like, the worst thing that we can do is tear people down once we get there. Like, that's pretty hypocritical. So let's end on a happy note. I think overall Miss America was amazing. I think it was a tremendous success. I am so proud to be a coach in the industry. I am so proud of Robin and what she's done to fearlessly turn around the Miss America opportunity financially, which was a pile of poop. Sponsors wise, the glamour, the femininity. Maybe I should have Robin on the podcast. I should message her. Should I do that? Let me know in the comments on YouTube if I should do that. That would be like super fun, actually. I've never had that thought till now. That'd be really cool. So yeah, I think it was a raving success. All my clients had an amazing time. They gave them ample time to rest and to play and have fun. And I'm excited and hopeful for the future of Miss America, which is really exciting. So that's my recap of Miss America this week, you guys. And I'll talk to you next week.